Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Dot, dot, dot.
We can't hear you, Bryce. And we are back.
Okay. That's not how I talk. And like I said before, you should take notes on the episode I wasn't here. You should hear how Jack did me, because it's actually a lot better.
You should put yourself back on mute.
And we are back this week with your Survivor News covering season 43. We got episode 9 here. And listen, Wendell might say I talk like this, but I don't. But my voice is actually giving very raspy this week because we had a time. But let's formally welcome back to the podcast the almost graduate of the University of Chicago. Is that the cap and gown?
Those are my
That better
sweatpants.
not be your cap and gown, Jack.
I'm looking
coming
for
out of
rolled
that
up
thing
in the
like
corner.
that. Jack,
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about
You
it.
tried it.
I got my
Jack,
kimono.
oh,
You better find it before graduation, Jack. That's all.
No, I know where it is.
But why would it be on the floor under that stuff, though?
I got a secret dresser over there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay. And you may know him from HGTV. It's the Hot Mess House, Beach Cabana Royale, Ghost Island, the winner of Ghost Island. And you know what I'm about to say. The first merge boot on Winners at War, Wendy Z. Holland.
We out here. Let's go.
Welcome back to the podcast, baby. It's been a time. How is everybody doing?
I'm really good. I've only a little bit of school left, and I have nice Thanksgiving break coming up. And yeah, classes have been pretty chill, all things considered. So I'm excited to wrap up. I'm excited to be out in LA with you guys. I'm excited to go to Hearts of Reality, and it's just been a lot of fun following the Bryson One Presents, because I know Boston was maybe the most lit one y'all have had, and I'm excited to hear about it.
Wendy Z.
Boston. Oh my goodness. I'm still recovering. It was such a great time. I'm sure we'll get to it, but yeah, Jack, we would have loved to have you out there, but we know you're busy. But from the bar to the fans that came out to the reality stars, incredible time.
Yeah, Boston was, I don't even know how to say it. Boston was different. You guys have been asking, a year and a half ago, y'all said, come to Boston. We said, okay, we're going to do it. Last season, y'all said, come to Boston, because I'm Boston. We came to Boston, and baby, y'all showed out. Boston was amazing, just from the amazing reality stars that showed up. Some of them, we didn't want them to show up. I don't know why Jeremy Collins was there, okay, because I specifically wanted Val. She's the only Collins that I recognize. But there were just so many amazing people. The energy was truly electric from the staff, from our team, from just Boston in general. Boston is just a different kind of animal. And listen, I like it. I like to ride it, okay?
Whoa. Where's
the animal.
Can I give a special shout out? When I get to the venue, I'm in the parking lot across the Greatest Bar. Shout out to the Greatest Bar. I'm in the parking lot across the street waiting for Bryce because he was taking forever to get there. I link up with my man Brent Champagne from Big Brother. I link up with some other people. We outside chilling. The videographer, and the photographer, Sosa and DJ pull up. We're chilling, and then the one and only Sollywood shows up. Yes. And Sollywood has been very great with our social medias. Whenever he's around, he takes over the Bryson Wynn Instagram account. But he's like, "Welcome to my city." He gives me a big hug, and he pulls out a gift, and he gives me a gift.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is this?
Yes.
It says Polo,
Ooh.
Ralph Lauren. So I open it up, and Jack,
Damn.
can you see what this says in the circle?
Oh, it's the Morehouse College one.
The Morehouse College edition. My man got me a new wallet, man. Like, and it's
Oh.
Morehouse, right? It's fresh as
That's
ever. It's a
dope.
more right. So it's like Solomon. It's certain like people are gift givers. This is such a thoughtful gift. It really like took me by surprise, and so I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Solomon. And then he also, when he was doing our social medias that night, he like took note of our constructive criticisms that we said last time, because we like receiving and giving constructive criticism so we can improve or we can help people improve. And he said, he showed us our socials and he was like, hey, you said do this, this, and this. And he improved that way. And I was just like, man, we came to his city. He rolled out the red carpet for us. And so thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Solomon.
thank you, Sally. And you listen, he gifted Wendell something. He gifted me something that I almost lost, but I didn't mean to. You know, Wendell went to Morehouse. I did not. But, you know, if you know me, I like Dolce and Gabbana.
Oh.
And yes, the Sollywood gifted your baby boy a DJ Khaled, Dolce and Gabbana. What you call it?
The little wallet, the little
a wallet, and it's like, so, first of all, it's, I don't know if y'all can see it. It's like so me, and these are the type of wallets that I wear, and the wallet that I have right now is getting a little run down. So it was truly
that's so nice of him.
Right, amazing. And also just shout out to the staff at the Greatest Bar Ever. A huge shout out to Quentin, their social media manager. We just like to say hello to Quentin. But no, it was
Bryce done fell in love.
I definitely did. But listen, I like what I like, he like what he like, but it don't matter because okay, just shout out
Get
to the
off of this.
boy.
Can we
Okay,
talk
sorry, but listen, Boston was just really amazing. And listen, we are just kicking or finishing up this amazing Bryce and Wynn Present tour. Okay, we got 2 more stops left. We are headed to the District December 7th. And listen, the District always shows up for us. And so we are excited. We are overjoyed. I am filled with joy to come to the District 43. And listen, then after that, bum 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 bum.
I'm going
back because the baby boys is coming. Listen here, Linda. The baby boys is coming to LA. We trying to party all day. We want to see who win 43. Is it? It's not me. We coming to LA though.
Yes,
that's all I got.
I don't got no bars for y'all today.
But yeah, so listen, we want to end with a bang, and it is truly shaping up to be an amazing evening in LA. So listen, if you're thinking about it, don't think, just do, because the tickets are they're going extremely fast. We are truly blessed to have the support that we have from you guys. But yeah, this is going to be an epic time. The trio that you know, Survivor News, will be together. So if that's not a reason, I don't know what else is. And also, I feel like I'm a little long-winded, but I just have to say, again, shout out to everybody that was there. But again, I just honestly, from the bottom of my heart, the reality stars that came, but truly the Purple Pants Posse. I didn't know the Purple Pants Posse rolled that deep in Boston. You know, y'all just was pouring into the baby boy. We had people bringing purple shorts. They was like, I brought these for you. There was multiple purple hoodies. There were multiple Solana buffs. Okay. At one point in time, well, I'll just tell this story real quick. Okay. So Wendell and I make it a point, Jack, so we love to see our reality star friends and everyone, but sometimes at our event, it's so much that we don't really get to see them because like we really immerse ourselves into the crowd. Like we make it a point to, you know, you've been there, Jack. Like we make it a point to like, I want to see
Mix it up.
Say hello to everyone. Like we appreciate your time for coming out. And if this is my gift of service to just say hello, yes. So I'm minding my business, you know, just had a little champagne on my way downstairs. Wendell's like, Perp. Okay, this is me. I'm Wendell. Perp. We got to get in these streets. Let's disseminate. I'm like, well, I just came up, but sure. So I take my order. Take my order because also I have to say that Boston was a Wendell and Bryce fight-free event. So I said, listen, I'm gonna do what Dad says. I get in the streets, saying hello to people, saying hi. I'm like, you know, in the middle of taking a photo. All of a sudden, like Wendell just on the microphone. Has anybody seen Bryce? Now I'm like, I just came down here. So they're giving away raffles, and I'm trying to make my way back upstairs. I get upstairs, and he's leaving the DJ booth. I said, no, back it up. So, you know, I just wanted to say hello, but, you know, I guess Wendell got on the mic, and he asked if the Purple Pants Posse was in the building.
They let us know.
And the Purple Pants Posse was in the building. So, listen, you know how I feel about y'all Purple Pants Posse. We go together.
Hey. And in the interest of keeping Bryce honest, like, yes, we got to be mixing with the people. You know what I'm saying? You got the people's champ and you got the purple's champ. You know, we got to be in there. So, but on during the commercials, we got to give things away to the people. So we got to do our raffle. So I thought that Bryce would be able to juggle both things, you know, running around talking to everyone, saying to everyone hello to everyone and thanking them for coming. But he didn't. So I had to get up there and I had to call him out. You know what I'm saying?
I got to back up Bryce, though. Once you get him mixing it up with the people, you can't stop the man.
Baby boy knows that. And on that note, you know what, Jack? Jack moderating today, okay?
Got to play the game before the game plays you, Wendell.
Jack, you're protected.
Yo,
my idol didn't go home with Dwight.
Oh, okay. Let me just calm down because I got Jack just
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5.
Hey,
right, one last question, Jack. Did you see any footage or photos from the party?
Yeah, I did. I went through. So I talked to you guys about it yesterday. And then as soon as I put on my Instagram after I talked to you guys about it, all the stories popped up. So I watched through all of those. Yeah, what's up?
Follow-up question. Do you know what shirt Bryce was wearing at the party?
No, don't listen, Wendell. We don't need to do all of that.
Bryce, can we see what you're wearing right now?
It's okay. I'm wearing a custom Bryce and Wynn shirt.
I think it might be the same. Bryce, what does that shirt smell like?
It smells like roses and flowers.
Anyway, I'm sorry for interrupting.
That you didn't even have a punchline to that.
It was you're wearing the same shirt that you wore 6 hours at the party.
I thought you was going to try to say that it's a crop top and I got a shirt on under it, but ain't nobody know because I'm that nice with it. But
you're wearing a crop top?
I mean, yeah, because at one of our events, you know, the bar requested, you know, the event that you were at, Jack, in Philadelphia, the bar was like, we want to like help promote your brand. Can you get some custom tees, but little crop top for the girls? And so when I went over Wendell House, I said, let me see if I can slide in one of those. And you know the way it fit my body, okay? If Quentin wanted to share it. So I'm nice with it. So I got a little black shirt and then I cut the seam off the bottom, and because the crop top is so tight and the other shirt, you would never know that I have 2 shirts on.
So the one you're wearing now isn't the one you were wearing on Wednesday. It's a crop top version of the same.
No,
one.
It's the same shirt.
Oh, okay. I tried to give you an alley-oop out of that one.
No, I mean, Wendell, what outfit did you drive down to Boston in?
My gray sweatshirt.
Oh, okay. And what do you have on now?
A green sweatsuit.
Oh, okay. And then Jack, you all got to give me an out when you graduate in 3 weeks and your cap and gown.
I plead the fifth.
But listen, great episode, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So
should we hop into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay. First off, we're heading back to camp after this Dwight blindside, and a big focus of the back at camp energy is Janine, who not only has been left out of the last 2 votes, but she also believes, along with everybody else, that Dwight went home with her idol. And so she's in tears, and tells everyone, I mean, there's enough people that know that the word, we get a montage of words spreading to everybody that Janine's idol is out of the game. And so everyone knows about it until we find out that Jesse actually received the idol from Dwight for one reason or another. It's still kind of unclear, but Jesse now has not only Janine's idol without anybody else knowing, he also has Cody's idol, who apparently hasn't asked for it back yet. I don't really know how they're going to figure that out, but guys, how did you feel when you found out that Jesse has the Dwight Janine idol?
I was pissed off, and I'm gonna tell you now. And Jesse, I'm coming for you. Okay. First of all, I love Jesse. You know, first of all, Dwight is my twin, so I love their relationship on the island, and I really loved seeing them work together. When they divorced, you know, I went with Dwight. Okay. But I still love Jesse. And then, you know, so I was like, my heart was broken. And then to know that Jesse was a part of the Dwight vote out and still took Dwight's idol. Oh,
Savage.
Jesse is cold. Jesse, I need alimony in this divorce, and I need spousal support.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a lot more, because it's like, why are you were past this idol in the event that James uses the knowledge is power towards Janine. And so what makes you then pass the idol on again?
I would assume that, and this just for me thing, is that they were so paranoid that I'm thinking that he probably thinks people know that he has it, or they know that things have been shifted. And if you want to, and my thinking is, we know the people who have the idols. And so if I'm going to use knowledge as power, you're more than likely going to shift it to somebody that doesn't have anything. So it's like the people that don't have anything become targets. So Dwight really got scared, but it's just crazy to know that he left with an idol in his pocket. Now, I got 2 things I want to ask y'all. When Janine sees Dwight going home, could she have stood up and said, baby boy, because it's her idol though?
No, so, well, I wondered the same thing. So obviously I figured once Dwight gets officially voted out, there's no passing of anything. But I was wondering, while the votes are being read, could Dwight, hit a little skit and pass it back? And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff actually said that once he says, if anyone has an idol and would like to play it, now is the time to do so, right before the votes are read. That's also sort of code for, at this point, if no one does anything, every passing of advantages stops. So you're not allowed to pass anything.
So what's your thought process on this? If we are all, boom, we all together, I give you my idol, Wendell, and, we go to the tribal. Jack says that. I know. Oh, I guess I'm thinking I would know that the votes are, okay, yes, no, never mind. That didn't make no sense, because I was thinking like, well, I would just ask for it back right then and there. Yeah, thinking that it was safe, but okay, I answered my own question.
I do think maybe there's the workaround for that, and it would be a little bit complicated, to say Bryce, say you're your twin Dwight, and I'm Janine, and I want my idol to stay with you, but on the off chance that you get votes, I want to be able to get it back. Maybe you could hold it under your foot, or hold it under your leg on the seat, so that if you get up when you're voted out, I could just go I could just grab it off the seat, and because then it's not in your bag, it's still in the game.
I think the only way to do it would be if it's under both of your feet, if you're both in possession of it, because I don't think once you're voted out.
But technically, Jeff says in this game, fire means life. So you have to walk up there and he snubs your torch. And I feel like while your flame is burning, you should be able to throw something.
Because I just think once you're voted out, it's just unfair. Say you get blindsided with an idol, which happens a good amount. No, I think it's unfair to be yo, here's closest ally, take my idol.
I
Yeah.
agree. The only thing I feel like what is different here is that it's Janine's idol, though.
Okay.
I know what you, but once you transfer it,
I mean, I get it.
that's the risk.
Now, my next thing that I wanted to say happened first thing in the episode when they got back, and we are getting a narration from Cody. I don't know why this narration of Cody struck me so different, because it wasn't just like the I'm chilling on the island, guys. It was a very like game face on, talking facts of what he's done and where he's at. And I was just like, is Cody out there playing with the children? Like, I just felt like when you go, if anybody that's listening, go back and watch the first 30 seconds and listen to what Cody is describing. It is like, I liked it, but he was just like, I was just like, wow.
I think I said like an episode or two ago, I think we're starting to see like this guy who was edited to be kind of goofy and fun turn into something that's like, it's time to play the game. And I like this kind of an edit or this style of game, because he went from being someone that people just like to have around. He's funny, he's silly, he's jumping off of things, he's showing us his live-in tattoo, and now it's like, all right, that's kind of disarming to people, and now this guy is playing.
We've had that. Yeah, I think we've seen even in the pre-merge that he's had some of those strategic chops. And I also think he's pretty under the radar right now, all things considered. I really think he's going to go deep into the game and has a good shot at winning at this point. But I mean, obviously, when we're talking about Janine's sort of bad luck not bad luck, but just sort of misfortune in the last few episodes where she's been left out of the votes. Now she believes that she's lost her idol. Of course, hindsight's 2020, knowing how the episode works out. But in this moment, what did you guys think of Janine's position in the game? Because I think a lot of times when you're so down in the game, it's almost an opportunity to be able to turn things around. So if you're Janine here, what's your plan of attack?
One, my plan of attack is, although I love my guy's name is Sammy, I'm not trusting Sammy at all. And I mean, I guess this would go later on in the episode, but my plan of attack, honestly, would be Sammy, because I feel like, and as we get to it, Sammy has revealed enough information to Janine that she could potentially went to the other side with this information and like used it as some leverage. Maybe it wouldn't have worked, but like I just feel like at this point, I'm throwing any and everything at the wall to see what sticks.
I'm with that. I agree. When you're she was left out numerous times, and I'm starting to think like episodes ago, I started thinking, man, Janine might not be long for the game. And is it becoming a little bit predictable? I didn't predict a Dwight exit last week, but I think we kind of got the idea that she was going home at some point. But like when you're that person that's been left out so many times, that's when it's time for you to find inroads wherever you can and talk to people, or talk to the people that don't seem like they're on the big dominant alliance. Can we look at numbers and see where alliances are?
Yeah, so we have
the 7.
The main 7, which is James, Carla, Ryan, Cassidy, all original Coco people, Cody and Jesse from Vezi, and then Sammy from Baca. And then the people on the bottom would be Owen, Janine, Noel, and
Gabler. Another thing for me, and again, just as a game standpoint, was like Sammy was cracking me up this episode. Listen, I know you guys can't, but they just came to me with the information at the last minute. Yeah. I mean, like, if I had the time, I would have told you, like, but like, I just felt like in that moment, and I'm not mad at how Sammy is playing, but in that moment, if I was like Janine and Owen, I would have been like, you can keep it moving, bruh. But
now you're trying to do damage control,
and that now you felt time now.
Yeah, I think for the problem is for like Janine and Owen though is Sammy's sort of the only person making it apparent that he's even willing to make moves in that 7. And so they might not even trust him, but when everyone else is like James and Cody are like all in on this, and Ryan are like all in on this alliance, and Sammy's the only one saying like, hey, like let's get a move going. Even if he's playing both sides, you sort of have to be like, what? Okay, like whatever you say, like we're ready. So that's, I mean, I like how Sammy's playing. It almost reminds me of like how I like to play, but I think at some point, once people start to make a little more connections and have a little bit more options, people are going to piece together that maybe Sammy is trying to play both sides a little bit too hard, and it could get him in trouble. But he's maneuvering it with it very well to this point, where I don't think anyone's super suspicious of him yet. But yeah, so yeah, I think with the whole Janine thing, I actually thought like there was a part of me that thought she was in a very good spot, because I think a lot of times when you're almost stripped of all of your allies, all of your power, it sort of gives other people the impression that, oh, like you're not a threat, you're weak, like you don't have to worry about her. And I think Janine's a smart enough player that when people aren't worried about her, she could go and find cracks and then rework her way into the game, almost like Erica did, who, when we've drawn comparisons on their edit and like their play styles and things like that. But I think the players this season were almost smart and like meta enough to understand that that's exactly what Janine could do, and then that is where she might be a threat. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was the thought process on the last 2 votes, and even with a Dwight as well, because I feel like they weren't like they weren't big players, but like they saw the potential of them. I really liked them showing us Owen, because I feel like we've seen a lot of Owen, and I feel like this has kind of sort of been what I find interesting about Owen's story is that, like, you know, we know people's stories, like from the beginning, the first episode, we really got a lot of it. However, I feel like with Owen, it's been a little different. I feel like they've been showing us Owen,
they've been not showing the Owen.
You know, like, you know, he says like, you know, I'm a curmudgeon. I'm like, you know, this and that, and like, you know, and I think that we don't really understand why, but like hearing his backstory and not feeling like left out of the boat, and really how it's taking a toll on him. I don't know why that just really resonated with me with Owen. And I feel like, again, sometimes I try to read into the edit as to like, why are y'all showing this to us now? Is this like to give us some indication to be like, is this going to be the underdog edit that we're looking for? But I mean, I just love to be able to relate, because sometimes you get on Survivor and that really happens. That happened to me. I felt like on Cagayan, I was so excited to play, and when they targeted me, it really took me back to like 4th, 3rd grade, when I like would be so excited for the first day of school to be like, oh, like I can't wait. And then like, you know, I'm eating lunch by myself, or I'm like, you know, running from bullies. And so I don't know, I just really resonated that with the Owen. What do you guys think of Owen's edit so far?
Yeah, that's sort of, yeah, I totally agree with you. When he was talking about it, it actually reminded me of you, like in the sense that you would talk about sometimes feeling like on the outs on the island because of your background. And for Owen, he was adopted and grew up with a white family like his whole life essentially, and always tried to like fit in with that group. But of course he's Korean, I believe he said, and so there's that natural difference that he tried to like correct for. And now on the island, it's sort of a similar situation where he's on the bottom. He's sort of the target of the majority as far as we know, where we see like a James talking about, you know, we should go for a challenge, that we should go for a Owen. And yeah, like I know exactly what you mean. Like it's setting him up as sort of an underdog. And I really like Owen. Oh, he's one of probably my favorites out there. So I'm excited to see what damage he could do playing from the bottom potentially.
You could do a lot.
I'm hoping for him to be able to shake things up, because I am rooting for him, and it is a great story. And a larger group of 7 that just seems like they're just picking off people is not what I want to see. And for someone or some group of these 4 to find a way, well, now it's 3, to find a way to like start picking off those 7 or infiltrate them or something, that would be That'll make for a great end of the season.
I also, last to interject, Jack, another thing that I have noticed is, have we seen the first James Jones real edit? I feel like this is the first time that we, in these 8 episodes, have been seeing James. I don't know if he driving the boat, but you know, James is definitely like talking to the captain, like, is this what you do? And I want to ask you guys, are we headed for a villain edit for James? Because it seems like, and from I love the game style, but it seems like James is very direct and James is very clear, but like James is saying Owen is a huge threat, and James is making it known that like we're not really friends on the islands. So if we're not friends on the island, not that they're not friends, but like if we not talking shop,
Then what is we
maybe
talking?
you better get the mop. No, but like I was talking to someone in Boston, and I think I brought you in on the conversation window. Like that is such a real thing. I know when we did the podcast, the Doing the Most podcast, shout out to Shannon. She had asked us a question about like Survivor, and I was like, one of the biggest indications how you know someone is not working with you is that you don't talk shop. And somebody that's listening that has never played Survivor before, you think that would be more apparent than what it is. But it's not, like, because you're living out there, you're communicating, you talking every day. Like, Jack, how Christine? What you think Ben doing, Jack? Wendell, what you think Senior doing right now? Like, you know, there's just so much stuff that goes on that sometimes you have to really stop and think and be like, you know what? Jack ain't never asked me where I want the vote to go.
Yeah. You could be as cool as you want with somebody, kiki, ha ha. And then if you're not talking game with them, they talking game with somebody else.
Absolutely. And also, I feel like it gets to a point, right? And because I feel like this happened with Alexis and I on Cagayan. Alexis and I, by far, on the Solana Beach, the 11 days that I was out there, we were the absolute closest. Like, Alexis and I would like joke about everything. And then it got to a point where like I wanted to talk shop with her. However, it had been like, I was too scared to be like, if I bring something up now, will all of it, like, it's just, there's so much anxiety that goes into it. But I love how James is very clear and decisive and being like, listen, I'm cool with Owen out here, but we ain't talking shop. So baby boy got the mop. And it just seems like James is very like adamant on this. And he sees that Owen is a very, like, we as the viewers see that Owen is a survival player, and James is able to identify that. So I'm so interested because we get to see more James. And, you know, I want to see James stuck in the net, but like we can't see him stuck in the net. I want to see what his thoughts are. What do y'all think about what we've seen from, or what we are starting to see from James?
I'm scared, man. I want to see James thrive, and like to see his edit turn or something like that. I don't know. I'm like,
but what, like, is it a turn? He being
Did
direct.
I hear something? Did I hear someone call him a godfather at one point or something like that?
But is that a bad thing?
What I think of James's game right now, I think he's playing a solid game, but I think what's the issue is that he's one of like the most as far as we know, like one of the most gung-ho people about that majority alliance. And so edit wise, obviously, usually they want you to root for the underdog, and James is decidedly sort of the opposite of that. And so that's where maybe he gets sort of that edit against him. But then I think from a gameplay standpoint, it's like he hasn't shown much flexibility. He doesn't seem really to communicate much with like Owen, Noelle, Gabler, Janine. Obviously now less of a factor, but at some point the tides are going to turn, and I think James might be the person that they turn on. You know what I mean? Like, James is not going to be the one who's going to be ready to make the flips happen, and he's been playing aggressively enough, like with his numbers, that he's going to be a target because he's been controlling a lot of things.
So my question is, why is the assumption that like James isn't talking to them? How we know like they not talking to him?
Well, it's a two-way street always, but when you look at the majority, I'm just saying like you have players like Sammy or a Carla that are going to both sides, whether it's because the minority group is approaching them because they want to work with them, or because they're approaching the minority because they want to make a move. It doesn't really matter. It's like even if the minority isn't approaching James, it might not be James's fault fully, but that just shows that there's something that's not about him that's not giving a sign to the minority group that he wants to work with them, which is just maybe a little harder to, given that the whole Coco group is in the majority, whereas, you know, a Sammy already has those connections with the minority group. But I think I'm not saying it's his fault that there's not communication between him and the minority group, but I do think even if the minority group's not talking to you, if I'm James, I'm going to them. I'm making friends with them first, and then I'm gonna continue to build that social relationship where I can slowly allow myself the opportunity to flip. Whereas I think when the majority sort of begins to implode inevitably, even if James wants to hop off, if James goes over to Gabler, he's like, Gabler, let's make something happen. Gabler's gonna be like, who are you? Like, I don't, like, you haven't talked to me all game.
Sometimes when you're on a tribe that is like dominant, and then you get into a merge and you find yourself as a whole tribe, this tribe that was doing pretty well pre-merge in a majority alliance, I can understand where it's easy for someone that has kind of been in a power position the whole game through the merge to be like, they're not in my alliance. All right. Like we over here rocking. We haven't gotten punched in the jaw yet, you know, like, but the good player will say, you know what? I've been dominating. I'm still dominating. And I'm going to give myself assurances by talking to these other players and by working with these other players.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, but again, we see
maybe I'm wrong. Gabler James right there on screen. So
yeah.
I'm just saying, I just get, and I don't want to take this conversation nowhere, but this is the Purple Pants Posse. I'm share my thoughts and opinion. Clearly, I'm a little biased to James because he's Philly and I'm rooting for Philly. And I've been loving the content that James has been giving us, whether it's quirky, whether it's funny, whether it's whatever, even if it is this could be slightly a villain edit. This all I'm going to say. And if James does get a villain edit, I don't know. I'm watching with y'all. Y'all better treat him like y'all treat the classic villains that y'all love. And that's all I'm going to say. Because sometimes I feel like
they ain't treat me nice.
Well, yeah, when the villains are a certain color, sometimes other things get involved in it. And so that's all that I'm saying is that, like, and this is just a game, but I'm just saying, like, whatever James gives us, I'm going to eat up because he's just hilarious. And I just hope that whatever we see, whatever it is, I hope it's received like how all the other villains or all the other people like him, although I do feel like James is carving out his own Jungle James archetype.
Agreed.
I also think the way James has been playing is that if the tables do get turned on him, it's going to be great TV. And so I think it'll.
I don't want to see James blindsided. I don't. Lord knows I don't. But could I just know.
He might not leave.
His pants start falling down when Jeff is stuffing his toys.
He's just going to streak his way out.
He going to trip on the net. James has no net. But no, but okay. Where we at?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can hop into the immunity challenge. There's a couple things that happened before that kind of will come back after the immunity challenge, so we can just tie all that in to the ultimate strategy of the episode. So we're hopping to the immunity challenge. Jeff Probst with his classic outfit on, welcomes everybody in. And this challenge is we've seen variations of it before, but you have to balance a ball with a pole on a little platform that has a little bit of a 1 inch high barrier going around it to allow for some some wiggle room. And then
Mm.
as every 5 minutes, you got to add another piece to the pole
Oh.
until it gets very long. And which will make it increasingly more difficult. But Jeff says it's that time of the season where if people want to sit, if you guys want to earn a good amount of rice for the group, I'm going to need 5 of the 11 people to sit out of this challenge, which is, and I think it's James that says, Jeff, what about 4? And Jeff is like, all right, I've done this before. I'm laying down the law. It's 5 or nothing. It's a lot of rice. It could last you like 4 days, which is about a third of the game at this point, given that the shortened seasons. But pretty quickly, I think Sammy says, hey, like, we need to eat. Sammy also seems to feel pretty comfortable for decently good reason. A couple other people like Carla said, you know, my hand's messed up. I'm going to need a good grip in this challenge. It's not going to happen. And so slowly a few people step up, and eventually 4 people are up there, at which point it's like, all right, we only need 1 more. So James also sits out. And then finally, I think Cassidy and Noelle were almost about to step up at the same time from what it looked like, but Cassidy ends up beating her to it and sitting out as well. So we see pretty much everybody from the majority sitting out, and the competition gets underway. But before we get to the challenge, I just want to hear your guys' thoughts, anything that stood out to you about this whole sitting out for rice dilemma that we have. And we see it a lot now in these modern seasons.
3 things I'll say. 1, I love these challenges. However, bring back the auction. Or I miss the challenges where Jeff will be like, who's going to shit out? I'll open this up for you. Oh, it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, I used to live for those challenges, and I would live for the person that would step down, and it would be nothing.
Dang.
So I feel like clearly this is the new era, but like, Jeff, if you listening, baby boy, can you bring that challenge back? I love that challenge. And like the auction, I felt like
the auction is the best.
The
like
auction
Survivor
was when they would get the nachos and they would piece their money together, and there'd be the one person holding out, saving their money, trying to buy the advantage. Just classic Survivor that I love. Also, James Jones. First of all, when Jeff was like, it's the rice, you could just see in James Jones's face, because we know James Jones loves Survivor. James Jones is like, oh, I know Jeff's going to let us bargain as soon as he stops talking. I'm going to be the first one to say it. Jeff was like, James said it so confident.
Give me 4.
What about 4? Jeff was like, hey guys, I'm going to just say this right now. Just the lowest I'm going today. Tomorrow, today's price is not tomorrow's price. Then also, James Jones.
Owen, you have protection.
You're protected. You should do it.
Yeah, that was.
Man.
And even if, James.
Come on, James.
In what world? You just told us 20 minutes ago, if you ain't talking shop, get the mop. So if you and Owen ain't cool, and not protected. Like what?
By whom? By what?
Like, right.
Even if I am working with someone, it's still like, if I look at you and I'm like, you should sit out. It's like, why are you so desperate for me to sit out? Like, that was.
And why are you whispering like that?
James, yeah.
And even if we don't know if it's true or not, but like, read the room. That's like,
yeah.
You is smart. You is loyal. You are protected.
I like your point about the auction, though. The auction has to be like my favorite Survivor challenge ever.
Yes.
And I really don't know. I think they got rid of it because people were holding out for the advantage, but I feel like there's so many simple solutions for that to fix it, where you can bring it back and really just make it like a nice, fun reward challenge. Maybe you have the advantage at the start and just say, The first item is going to be the advantage. If you want it, you could bid on it. After that, no advantages. Just get all the food you guys can eat and just have fun with it. But
Or the best part about that is the person sometimes when the people be waiting for the advantage and then like say they love like chicken fajitas and then they will put the chicken fajitas out and they would be like,
oh,
like that. That's classic Survivor.
yeah, I wish they would. That's a great point. I wish they'd bring that back. Wendell, what do you think about this?
I was just gonna say about the auction. I would just keep my $500 and just keep the money because I'm gonna have an extra.
Do you get to actually keep it?
No, it's
Yep, you get to keep that money.
no, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Jack, it's not even money. It's like it's parchment.
No, it's money.
So you get to keep the money.
If you keep it, you keep it, and I'm
Wendell,
keeping it.
You are,
And I'm gonna let my game bring me to the end of the game too. So I'm gonna have $1,500,000.
you'll get what you
$1,500,000, Wendell.
Yes.
Posse in the comments, please let us know if I've never heard anything
I
like
think-
this before.
Didn't what's his name do it to fix his car or something like?
I think you're right. I think you can get to keep it,
Yeah.
but I feel like obviously if you're playing the game for $1,000,000, like spend $100 on a steak, like get some protein. Like I don't stingy,
That's frugal Wendell.
frugal. That's Dad Wendell.
That's Dad. Save your money.
I'm trying to take the kids to Six Flags.
I'll
Make
take
your
my
money work
500.
for you.
Okay. All right. Where were we?
So now we're getting into the challenge,
Mhm.
and we get down to a battle between Owen, Ryan, and Cody, and we have Janine, Noel, and Gabler all get knocked out fairly quickly. Bryce, that's the wrong challenge. But yeah, so it gets down to Owen, Ryan, and Cody, and it's a battle. And Ryan actually has this strategy where he rests the pole up against his forehead, and I actually thought it was a pretty good strategy because you're like stabilizing. Like obviously, once the pole gets super lengthy, you're like if you're just holding it down here, you're managing like 5 feet.
That's
And
that's a
yeah,
lot.
this is a
That's a
tough
lot of
description.
pull. Go ahead.
You're
Bryce.
managing a lot of pole, and it's wobbling, and so
Whoa.
that- but if you use your forehead to like stabilize it, then there's less wobbling, I guess. And so I thought it was a decent strategy. Granted,
I've tried the forehead.
The forehead
Granted-
method.
in order to keep it rested against, you have to like lean it
Back.
to begin with, and so there's going to be a natural tilt, I guess. That
Y'all
Yeah.
are
Jack
disgusting.
trying to
I'm really not even
narrate
trying
it
to
went
say,
out.
yeah.
Is
There's
this
gonna-
why you
you're
didn't
gonna
want
have
me to narrate?
You're gonna have to lean it, and so it's gonna make it more difficult. Whereas Owen and Cody went for the straight approach, and now harder to handle, but less lean on it, I guess. And so Ryan, despite his strategy, gets eliminated, and now we're battling Cody versus Owen. Cody battling in the final two for back-to-back weeks for a challenge. But ultimately, Owen locks it down. Maybe I think he says after the fact he was motivated by the fact that James said, "You're protected," and Owen pulls out the immunity challenge. What would you guys think about this?
I
He
thought
did
it's
it when
like
he should have.
right. Poetic justice. Would that be a good like we get to see the
Yeah.
story and then like he's like, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the something, but like I delivered today. And I think that again, sometimes Survivor is about you don't have to be the strongest, you don't have to be the fastest, you don't have to be the smartest. At times you just have to show up that day.
Yeah.
And what a world of a difference that it can make, because I mean, I guess James was right. You are protected.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
James
protect
was
myself.
telling the future right there.
Yeah.
Now, does this up Owen's threat level even more? What happens if he's not protected next week?
But so I was thinking about that. Like, does it up his threat level? Because I feel like his threat level has been like his threat level is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that maybe this might open some doors that like people might want to work with him next week. I don't know. I just felt like he's already a target. So why getting the immunity idol when you need it really kind of shows up, and it could sway the vote elsewhere. And I thought it was interesting when we got back to camp. And again, another thing that was like funny to me was like this Ryan edit that we were getting, and like, you know, Ryan is the provider, and he like doing all of this, doing all of this stuff. And again, back to my season, on Cagayan, that was the approach that I went for. Like, I really, when I went out there, I was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to show up. Like, I'm going to get them water. I'm going to stoke the fire. I'm going to like cook the rice every night. I'm going to like tell stories at night. Like, I really wanted to go end it with an attitude of like, you guys need me. And actually it backfired. It backfired for a multitude of reasons. But I just felt like this need to provide for people. I'm like, has Ryan watched like previous seasons? Like, they will take the fish provider out.
Did he really catch 21 fish?
21. Can you do
There's something about it.
Can you something for me? 21. Do your thing, 21.
Do your thing. Do your thing, 21.
Hey.
Wait, I just want to hit it. So as far as Owen goes, because I wanted to give my 2 cents on that.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. I think, and I started drifting off thinking about other seasons and stuff like that. But I think with Owen, it does raise his threat level. But like Brez said, if he doesn't win, he's probably going home. So you might as well win the challenge. You know, I think obviously someone else, once you win, has to go home. And with, you know, the ultimate target that we see going home, of course, Owen might be a bigger target next week, but I think next week could be a prime time for the game to get flipped on its head. So just ensuring that you're there at that crucial turning point is really huge for Owen. So this win could be the difference for him between, you know, 11th place and potentially winning the game. So it's really a huge immunity win. But yeah, like you said, we get back to camp and the whole ride. And we saw some of this before the challenge too, where Gabler even says, you know, Ryan, when it comes to fishing, he's just the man. Like he, yeah, it is 21 fish. Can you do something for me?
Okay. So I just was just like, for me, I just thought it was so interesting. And again, in Survivor, you never know what the hell can put a target on your back. But I want to put a pause on the fish for a second because, you know, it ain't my forte. What I find so interesting or funny is that, like, I feel like, now, you know, I love baby boy Sammy, but I do feel like his age is showing a little bit in the sense of, you know,
how eager he is.
Hey guys, I got this idea. Like, I don't want to be on that side anymore. Like, I'm at the bottom. Well, you don't think we do that already, Sammy? And now it's like Sammy is like coming and it's like, let's do something. And again, I think the idea is great. Also, like, I thought his energy was like a lot. And also, I thought, are you having a conversation with them, Sammy? Or are you coming and telling them a plan? Because I was like watching Janine the whole time, and Janine just was sitting there. Like, you know, it wasn't as if like, I forget what season this was. I think it might have been like Uncle Carl, David versus Goliath. When after they had the beer, you know, the classic Uncle Carl beer gift when they was drinking, and Uncle Carl like went to somebody and was like, "This is the plan," and they were like, "Wow, he's not even telling." Like, he's like, you know, he's not even. We ain't even having a conversation.
Yep.
And I feel like in that moment, I was like, this is Sammy's downfall right here. Because again, he is, and I commend Sammy because he's made it a lot farther than I have, and he's doing the right things. But I feel like, and again, like knowing Sammy's background, and I feel like, you know, like I know out here on Survivor has to be such an exhilarating and like just an eye-opening, not eye-opening, but it's like a new world for him. And so like when he's in these situations where it's like, did I just put myself in a situation where I could actually like flip, like, and his delivery on both sides is a lot. And as a fan, I love it because it's like, yes, but also if I'm out there, and again, this season, these players, they're perceptive, they're smart. This ain't no like regular degular Survivor season. This is like a come with it season.
Yeah, I think like you said, this is where his age and his enthusiasm shows a little bit, where he's so excited to make moves. And I like his strategy, but I do think, especially in the modern day of Survivor, where once you make a couple moves, your target you're basically ensuring that you're the target. And so I like his strategy of, I guess, like the pendulum strategy, where you want to be able to switch back and forth. But I think it's still so early in the game where there's still 11 people left, more than half of the players that even started in the game, where it's could be to his benefit to just rock out with this alliance, be that guy with the connection to the other side, but don't push it. And then when the time is right, you can go to them and say, now is our time, rather than going to them every tribal and saying like, maybe we can make something happen. Like I think that's just going to come back, and the word's going to spread that you've kind of constantly been working both sides. Yeah.
Is there something to planting seeds? Is there something to planting seeds early as opposed to like remaining tight-lipped until you want to, like, because if he's doing it early enough, then it's like, all right, if he comes to you a vote or two down the line from now, it's like, all right, he's been talking about this, so now he's ready to make a move. Is there something to that?
I'd say yes, because then he leaves. He's gonna leave the door open for someone on the other side to then poach the 7 and say, this is what he been saying to us.
Okay.
So it's like kind of sort of random. Mind you, y'all, I just opened Twitter real quick. Why did I just see this on Twitter? Y'all can't see. Hold on, let me see if y'all can see it. It's James Jones, and it says The Godfather too.
Is that James' face?
Yes.
Damn.
I can't.
Well, I think as far as the planning, I agree that there's something to planting seeds, but I think that can be done mainly socially, and then go to each individual and say like, hey, the time might not be this tribal, but I'm going to look out for you and make sure you're here for the next tribal. And I think the time could be the next tribal. Whereas I think he's a little more going like,
he's not planting the seeds. He's
he's saying he's like trying to put a plan. He's trying to have a plan together for both groups and then pick the one that works the best. But then the group that you don't go with is gonna be like, but you gave us a plan. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Why did you give us a whole plan if you didn't want to follow? That makes them lose trust in his faith. Whereas I think if you're more honest and be like, look, for my personal game, like this 7's not gonna last. It might not be this tribal, but you're good this tribal. Like, oh, and you're good this tribal. You know that you're protected. You won the immunity. Just rock with me now, and I swear, like next tribal, because I do think next tribal is the time where Sammy could get a Carla and a Cassidy to come over with the 3 and vote out a James or a Ryan 6-4. That's my prediction for the next episode. So why this episode sort of sparked false promise? Even if Sammy wanted to flip, I don't even know if it's even if he could have gotten everyone on board to get Ryan this episode, I don't think that's the move. So I think just chill with your alliance for a second, be the guy with the options, but don't be the guy who looks like he's going to jump ship to the rest of your alliance. Like I think I like how Sammy's playing. It reminds me sort of how I think I would play. But when I did play, like even in South Africa with you guys, when I was 19, Sammy's age, I felt like when you're playing, when you see a big move, you want to make it every time, but that's not always the right move. Now, I mean, I think it's a little different, but
I mean, just saying.
Is there something?
Whereas now I feel like I'd be a little more. I just feel like I mean, I'm still a big like. I'd say I'm less of like a super fan as I used to be. When you're a wide-eyed 19-year-old super fan, you're like, yo, I can blindside Wendell. Like, I had no part of that. But now it's like
It was
when
all
you
eights.
when you've seen enough seasons and you've played even like the charity things a couple times, you had a little experience, and it's just kind of you're more like, I feel like I'd be more like all right, let me find the time and just chill if I can chill, like. And I
Yeah.
think as far as Bryce has talked about with the 19 versus the 22, I think that's where the biggest difference might
How
be.
old are you now, Jack?
22.
Oh,
Okay.
can you do something for me? It's literally
21.
like, hey, it's, you know what? I never thought about that dynamic. Like, not you or Sammy in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now, is there something to there being 7 men and 4 women? Or are we gonna get there? Or
I mean, no, we can talk about it. I think that that is, I was thinking
because
about
the fans don't like that.
They did, and I also was reading on Twitter too, but I won't even go down that rabbit hole because I was just saying it was something about the name of the votes and how many votes of the names, and like all of the names that all of the votes that have been written down have been like for women, or like I can't say the tweet, so I don't want to like misquote the tweet, but it was just
What are
basically,
you gonna say? Like women or black men?
yeah, like that, like how there have been no votes for like white men. But I mean, I was thinking that because it's only Noel, Carla,
Janine and Cassidy.
so at this point, after
There are only 3 white men on the season now, I believe.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I know. It is. Yeah, I don't.
Just
That's
interesting.
true. Okay, that's true.
But-
Yeah. And it's like a Gabler, anyone want to sit next to him at the end.
I mean,
And he would have gotten votes pre-merge, if they went to more, trial. Like he probably would have been the
Yeah.
first boot if he didn't have the idol.
after seeing like this episode as opposed to last episode when Gabler said the Gabler alligator's going back under the water, like he did a good job of staying under the water this episode.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
he
don't
did.
know, like, if I'd actually want to sit next to a Gabler.
Yeah, but him going back into the water just means he's not doing anything. Like it's still
It's like
I don't.
yeah.
But still, I feel like if you lived out there for Gabler, and if he were to say that at his final speech, like I feel like that could garner some votes. But like yeah, there are a lot of women going out,
Yeah,
a lot.
and I think if I had to now, what I do think there's a natural sort of equilibrium that happens at the merge where if there's fewer women, I feel like they usually get targeted less. So it is weird to see that, Ellie's gone, Janine's gone. Like I think back to like a Millennials versus Gen X. I think they merged at 13 and it was like 9 guys, 4 women, maybe. But I think all 4, or I think Michelle Schubert was the merge boot, but then all the other women made it like pretty far. Whereas this, I think my guess is that in the pre-merge this season, when it's 3 tribes, and especially having seen 41 and 42 where there was no swap, there's more emphasis on having as strong of a tribe as possible. And now I think not like just generally, the guys out there are viewed as more of a challenge asset than the average woman. Not to say there's not women that are studs in the challenges, and not to say there aren't guys that are duds in the challenges, but the Codys and the Sammys and the Owens of the game and the Ryans and the Jameses are going to be more valuable pre-merge because they're helping out in the challenges. And so I think that could be a reason why maybe the women are catching more votes than usual. Because if you're in a game where it's 2 tribes of 10 and the precedent is that you might swap in 3 episodes, it doesn't really matter how you do in the challenges. So that challenge performance doesn't really play a factor in the votes. That would be my hypothesis to this season, why pre-merge it might have been that way. But now I do agree where I think if it's just a sausage fest and there's 9 guys out there and 4 girls,
Put me in.
I just think there's a natural sort of balance that needs to happen amongst that just naturally happens. And I think it will happen because I don't see a world where the final 7 is just like all alpha dudes. It just doesn't work out like that. But I don't disagree with you that I don't know. I think you look at Owen's win here, and then you look at the minority alliance. It's Noelle, Janine, and Gabler. I do think at that point it makes more sense to go for a Janine or a Noelle than a Gabler for reasons that we've talked about with Gabler. But no, I definitely think there's I think in Survivor there's no coincidences. Like when it comes to some of the trends with like gender or race, it's always a reflection. There might be factors at play that cause things to go the way that they do that aren't a direct, relation. But as we've always discussed, there's always subconscious factors, or even call it like not random occurrences, but just trends that happen in some seasons that don't happen in others for one reason or another with regards to any sort of element that lead to sort of these series of events that are like, what's going on here, I guess. Sorry, that was a bit of a long rant.
No, that's all right. And we had Cassidy speak up, right? What did she say, and who was it to? I'm trying to remember because she was like,
maybe with Janine, because I know she and Janine had a powwow where Cassidy was like, "It's not in my best interest for you to go."
I feel like she might have said it to someone in the dominant alliance or something, like not another girl.
She was saying that was Janine and Cassidy talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
she also laid down the law a bit with, I think, James, where James was like, why don't we just get out Orion? And Cassie was like, I think Cassie was like, I really don't want to do that. Kind of was her approach to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thought it was so funny when I guess the idea of Ryan was coming up and Carla was in her interview and she was like, I mean, where is he? He's out fishing. And like, again, in the game of Survivor, you never know. What I always find so interesting about Survivor is you never know what the thing is that your personality trait that you will be doing on Survivor that like can fuel the flame to vote you out. And so in this instance, baby boy Ryan is just trying, like, in his mind, his strategy is, I'm gonna provide. And it's so interesting to hear Carla being like, he's never around camp. He's not even playing. Like, and then that in her mind is like, so why are you here? I just love the dichotomy of it all because it's just so interesting. Like, what did you think when Carla said that?
Yeah, Ryan has been so interesting, and I guess you could say this challenge, we've seen his strategy start to emerge. It might not be the right strategy, but it is his strategy where he strategized for 15 minutes. He's like, all right, Janine, cool. I'm going to go fish for 3 hours. Like, he got 21 fish. If he's catching a fish every 10 minutes, which is a great pace, he's out there for over 3 hours. So it's like,
Gabe was like, that guy's amazing.
Yeah, that's Gabe was like, I want to be Ryan when I grow up.
But if you're out there with him, then you're like, all right, all he does is fish all day. I'll sit at the end next to him.
That's exactly what I think, is that if I'm in his alliance, I'm like, this dude is like, he's a goat. He's providing for us, and he's not even on the beach, so he's never going to launch like a counter movement against me. He's literally out in the ocean. Like, there's no way he could turn on me.
But see, I think that in the new era of Survivor, I think that is a handicap in a way, because it's like the game moves so fast. And if you're not in it, and you're like, if they don't feel like, again, like, we are so happy that you're providing the fish, but clearly at times your presence can help sway a conversation, can help it really can, like, because if like you're around and people know, like, there's just more to being present than I think gives the eye. Like, also it's great that you're not around, but I think that like clearly for her to say that, it has to be, in my opinion, things that contribute to that one could think that it's like, oh, okay, like, we need you around. So
I do think this is where sort of a classic, in my mind, like a classic Survivor strategy element comes into play. Something that I think all players should try to look at and consider. And now this might not be for Carla, but I think Ryan is the type of guy where he's not super present. And so nobody in the game is thinking of him as probably like their closest ally, right? But he has a vote and he has to use that vote with somebody. And so I think if you can successfully identify that, hey, like Ryan may not be super present, but he might not be my closest ally, but to him, I'm his closest ally. And he's good. He's not going to turn on me. He might not be the most present, but if I keep him in the game, that's just a free vote I have and a guy I could beat at the end who also appears to be a threat because he's physical, but really isn't going to get any votes. I think now for Carla, that might not be the case, but if I'm like a James, I do think it's in his best interest to keep Ryan in the game because although Ryan might not be his best ally in the sense that he's helping him with strategy and stuff, Ryan's vote is almost like an extra vote for James every tribal.
Ryan, you protected.
Yeah. But it is so weird to see Ryan in the modern era. And clearly Ryan's not a huge Survivor fan. He's doing his thing out there. Like he loves the Survivor element, but anyone out there should know that you shouldn't be strategizing for 15 minutes and then go disappear for 3 hours before tribal. Like it doesn't. Does it remind you of like the Jonathan? Kind of similar to Jonathan. Jonathan was definitely providing a lot of fish. But again, he was more present. But I think a similar type of like physical, like provider, not necessarily like in the mix of like the nuances of Survivor, but like there.
I can see that.
It's similar. I do think though Jonathan was more aware of the fact that he needed to strategize. Not to say that Jonathan was the best strategist, but he put the work in, I felt like. Whereas Ryan, it's like he's on the first page of the Survivor book and everyone else is on like chapter 20 at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, Jonathan, sometimes Jonathan's work was like, ooh, the way you're communicating with this person. And in Ryan's case, I guess he's not even getting to that point. So it's like,
right. Exactly.
But, and again, we've seen in an edit, like at Erica, there's still time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I mean,
okay, Bryce, what if he wins all the immunities from here on out?
He could Mike Holloway his way.
Yeah, but will that even get you to win the game just because you can win all the immunities?
Well, he could say that he won all the immunities and he provided for the people.
This isn't season 0.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's not old school anymore.
I'm not saying that, but I am saying that there might be. Gabler will vote. He will get a vote. I'm just saying you just never know.
Well, you never know, but. I mean, you make the Erica the difference between him and Erica is that Erica, at her core, I feel like is a good game player, and now the situations of her season didn't always allow her to show that, but she knew how to maneuver a little bit. Whereas Ryan needs like to become like a strong strategist needs like a factory reset to like
what. My Erica comparison is that like, yes, 2020, we are Monday morning quarterbacking. We didn't know all of that stuff about Erica until the end of her season. Ryan could be.
But I think you pre-merge, you look at Erica and they didn't have a lot of screen time because they won every challenge, but you see her conversate with people and you're like, okay, she has like a strategic and social element to her.
So we don't get a Ryan 15 ain't nothing?
Nope.
What's Ryan 15?
His 15 minutes before he goes to the beach.
I think that's a knock against him. I think what they showed in this episode was literally uncut footage of his entire time strategizing. They put the entire 2 minutes they had, they just threw that in and just we didn't miss anything.
Is Ryan kin to Roxroy?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They cousins.
I think Gabler might be the uncle in there somewhere too. But
Oh man.
yeah, I mean, Ryan seems like a great dude. It's not a
No,
knock
yeah,
against him.
it's nothing ever
But-
personal on here.
Yeah, it's just like he's happy fishing, and we gonna let him be happy catching his 21 fish.
Isn't there like a saying or like
And
isn't
that's
there a
it.
sign going fishing?
Yeah.
You need to get that
Ryan
far.
said so. It's
Right.
Janine pulls out the sign, throws that up, and just goes.
These 43 need to come with me for their merch. If I'm Ryan, I'm going fishing. Survivor
Yeah.
43.
Ryan pulls up the tribal with the scuba gear on, So good. With
I
the
just got out
fish in
the
his
water.
hand.
Did I miss it? Ryan, where have you been?
Jeff says
21. It's too excited for me.
Jeff says if anyone has an idol and would like to play it, now's the time to do so. Ryan opens up his pants. Everyone's like, and he pulls out a fish and he's like playing on. Yeah, Ryan, he's the last person left from my fantasy team. It's not looking good. But yeah, so we get to I guess before we get to tribal, if you're someone who's in a middle position and you're both of you guys are considering, the Janine versus the Ryan debate, what way do you fall? Like if you're a Sammy or a Carla?
I feel like I would
Janine.
if the vote it's Janine. However, if the votes are there, then I will go if the votes were there, I would go Ryan.
So if you had your pick, if you could just pick whatever.
Well, it also depends on who I am. Like, because if I'm a Carla, I'm probably going to do a Ryan, only because I want to preserve as many women as possible. And I feel like, yeah.
Interesting. And Wendell, what about you?
I'm just scared of I'm scared of Janine flipping the game. And so I guess at this point, I don't think Ryan is I would be more afraid of Janine at this point, I think. I mean, obviously,
If you're
Owen,
who?
if I'm in the dominant alliance, any of them.
Okay.
If I'm a lady in the dominant alliance, I
Wendella.
would be very wary. Maybe just Wendy.
I like Wendella.
Okay. If I'm Wendella, I'd be a little wary. I'd be a little wary. But yeah. Okay. Who is at the top of the dominant alliance?
So that's the thing. Like, I don't like that is the thing that confuses me, because I think that is the Pythagoras' theory.
What? Repeat that?
Pythagoras' theory.
Wait, what is it though? It's something about the women.
No.
I just asked who is at the top of the dominant alliance, and Bryce proceeded to say that is the
Pythagoras theories. I mean, Pythagoras theory. No, that is.
you're missing some syllables.
Okay, it's fine. What is the word though?
Pythagorean?
theorem.
Oh, Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean
Oh, Pythagorean.
theorem.
Yeah.
A squared
Oh, equals B squared
Plus B
plus B
squared.
squared.
equals you're protected.
Squared.
That is the dilemma that I find in this dominant alliance, because who really is running it? You would think it's Jesse with the two idols. If you watch the beginning of this episode, you would think it's Cody. If you have been watching all of the episodes, we know how influential Carla is. If we see James today on this episode, how he is so like Owen. Oh, like you would definitely think that James wields power. The only person that I like, and this is by no disrespect, I feel like the only person who I know is at the bottom of that alliance is like Ryan and Cassidy.
Yeah.
But and I would honestly just say Ryan, because it's like clearly well, Cassidy has been taking shots. So it's like, but like, and again, she hasn't yet made her big move yet. But I just
She's
feel
doing
like
some work behind the scenes.
Yeah, like because clearly she's protected, and like that means that she has alliances and she's working through it. They haven't revealed that to us. But yeah, like so I think that is really what's going to be the issue. And if I am Owen, if I am Gabler, if I am Janine, I would really be, instead of targeting Ryan, I would really be like trying to maximize your 15 minutes with him, because like that like I foresee that top going to explode.
Whoa. Now here's a question. The way I look at it, we got like a Carla, a Cody, a Jesse. They seem like the top-ish dogs in this alliance. James, I'm scared for him. Now, if we have Jesse with an idol,
2,
I think he's gonna get that second one back to Cody, right?
I think so.
Unless he's like, time to make a move on voting Cody out. Now, if he gets that idol back to Cody, then these two people are protected. Then I'm scared for our boy James.
And Carla has the idol.
And think of the idol players.
Yeah.
What if there's I'm scared for a James.
Yeah, I think James is in trouble.
And James has the knowledge is power, which puts a huge target on his back for them wanting to, because now it targets them. And so actually, you know what? You're right. I take that back. I feel like the top are Cody, Carla, and Jesse, because they have the idols, and because James has the knowledge is power, it immediately makes them look at James like
the biggest threat.
The biggest threat.
Wow.
Back to the Janine Ryan debate. I did think it was going to be Ryan based on how the editing was, especially. But I think at the end of the day, I agree with you guys where I think voting out Janine was the smarter move, because I think even for Sammy, it's like you've seen an interest from Carla, from Cassidy to make a move on Ryan. So why not cut out Janine, someone who could sneak back in and into a power position in the game, take her out. Next week, you can get some numbers to then make your move. And now you just has a little bit more manageable numbers. And I do think next week, I think that'll happen. And like you guys said, I'm worried for a James, because I think at first the target could be on Ryan, but then it might be, why don't we take out the guy with a little more power in this game, with the knowledge is power advantage, just a better player, and take out a James. And I think that is very well might be what happens.
I think, in my opinion, if I'm James, I'm going to need to solidify my duo-ness with someone, and I'm going to want to get rid of that knowledge is power. And I would like whoever, if he's closer with Cody, if he's closer with Carly, if he's closer with James, I would just give them that knowledge is power, in the sense that it's like, I don't have it, and it could do a lot, because then they could just like snipe him. But I mean, knowledge is power won't protect him anyway. But I feel like if you could just, if you could get your Wendella and Dom situation going, I feel like that could, get something going for me.
Trying to think how I would play it if I'm James.
Well, if this was season 30, you wouldn't really have to worry about that. But
if it was season 28, you wouldn't either, because you would be.
Pew! I mean, and if this was any season, Jack would be.
That's just collateral damage. Damn.
Yeah, that's messed up. So the way I see it with James is they're going to recognize that James, not only is he a smart strategist, whatever, and now he has this thing, the dominant alliance, maybe everybody, they're going to go for this guy.
So would it be in James's best interest? So maybe James was really telling Owen, you're protected. Like, because in this thinking, James's best situation is a Gabler, a Owen, a Ryan, and a Cassidy.
And he's stealing an idol from somebody, and boom. He has a whole new alliance, and he could snipe out the big dogs.
But that's the issue, is that he hasn't been laying the groundwork, I feel like. And that's exactly why that's so important.
And as soon as he goes for it, now they're going to be like, why are you just now laying the groundwork? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah. But anyways, with all this in mind, this Janine Ryan debate, we get to tribal. Not anything too inspiring other than Ryan's 21 fish, but because I think Gabler was like, he caught 22 fish, and Ryan was like 21. And it felt very.
Gabler is Ryan's biggest fan.
Gabler and Ryan are like Drake and 21.
Jeff, can you believe it? This guy right here, 22.
Actually,
fish.
21.
I was amazed. I've never seen anything like it
in all my time. And I'm a heart valve specialist. I did feel like this tribal, like, it felt very buzzwordy. Like Jeff asking questions about the state of the game, and people will be like, "Oh, you never know. Like the game is in a constant state of flux." Like, or it's like it's hard to trust it. I don't know. It's just like the players are so smart at this point with the questions that they just answer in such like a cliche way.
I also felt like, so I took it a different way. I felt like they felt bad that it was a Janine vote. So I felt like that's why the questions were like so like. I don't know. I just felt like it was the awkward answers, but maybe they're just me.
Yeah. We did have Sammy saying like it might end up being like a civil war at some point, which could a little. I don't know. If I was in his alliance, I'd be like, "What do you mean by that?"
Wait, because you realize that, but also it's right because
have you been talking to other people or something?
But
Paul Revere.
Ultimately, wait, Paul Revere.
Didn't he have something?
The English
the Revolutionary War.
Oh, okay.
And he
the
was
British
on our
are coming.
side. Yeah, he was loyal. He was loyal. I think you're thinking of like Benedict Arnold. Or something. Yeah. But
is that where you get eggs Benedict? You know that's where you get eggs Benedict from, right?
I think so.
Are you sure?
I mean, I just made it up. I was gonna see if y'all was like, yeah, but okay.
I mean, it is a British. So. It's like a British a dish, I think.
Delicacy. Do you like an eggs Benedict, Jack?
Yeah, that's like a poached egg over like a English muffin,
or it could be toast.
Ooh. Yeah, I like an eggs Benedict.
I more make it at home now. Like if I'm going out for breakfast, I want like
steak and eggs,
something like that. You know, Wendell loves an egg Benedict.
But
pause. Legend has it that a hungover Wall Street broker brought eggs Benedict into the world. In 1894, the Waldorf Hotel in New York, Lemuel Benedict ordered 2 poached eggs on top of buttered toast, crispy bacon, and 2 poached eggs. Plus the hollandaise sauce, of course.
That sounds delicious.
Okay. Eggs Benedict they're banging. Yeah, sorry.
But so it's a near unanimous vote on Janine, but we do see that Cassidy voted Ryan. My guess would be that in case Janine plays her shot in the dark, which hasn't been used really all season.
Do you feel like she should have used her shot in the dark?
Yeah, but I think she almost like forgot about it. I don't know. Like I think when it's a clear-cut situation that it's either you or it's someone else, and it's going to be like everyone's voting for you or everyone's voting for someone else, your vote doesn't really matter at that point. So you might as well use the shot in the dark, because I'd rather have an 83% chance of going home than a 100% chance of going home. Yeah. Controlling for the fact that like you don't like if it's not you anyways, then it's just not you anyways. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah. What did you guys think of this, and what do you guys think going to happen moving forward?
I was just sad that Janine went home. I felt like, you know, she had an uphill battle the whole season. And you know, they didn't let up on her. But she had the ability to make a lot of moves and be a great player. And I think that that is, you know, she should keep her head up high. And I felt like, you know, at no point in time did she ever like go fishing. She stayed in the game and like, you know, she did the best that she could do. So I've only got positive things to say.
Yeah.
And she had to play that game with that terrible scar on her chin.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
game. Like,
She was just
imagine
getting
her
beat
coming
up.
back. Yeah. Her coming back home with a big old scar on her chin. And people are like, what have you been into?
Right.
I don't know.
But regardless of it, while we were in Boston, the people had nothing. The people, the Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's dope.
Yeah. They showed her hell of love.
They showed a lot of love. Well, I mean, well, that was the episode. Sad to see the queen go. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. I'm more excited to see if we get to see more James Jones.
Let's keep our fingers crossed for our boy.
Yes, like James, you're like, let's give him protection. Well, I mean, it's been a great episode, gentlemen. Always appreciate you. We should do this same time, same place next week. If you're around, you're available. But you know, before we go,
we got some tour dates left. We got 2 tour dates left, ladies and gentlemen. We have the District. Bryce and Wen present the District on December 7th. Then we will be taking a little quick stop at Hearts of Reality. And after that, we have the Bryce and Wen present the finale in Los Angeles. Ooh. This is going to be a party to remember. Both parties are going to be great. DC, y'all know what we did 2 weeks ago in DC. We're coming back to have an incredible event. And the finale, that's going to be.
If you haven't seen the poster, guys, if you're not watching on YouTube, you got to go check out the poster because the lineup. I mean, I'm gonna fanboy a little bit. I'm excited.
Yeah. But I mean, DC, you know, DC, right? DC for the District 42, that reminds me of Destiny's Child. And with Destiny's Child, I think of a reunion. And so I think maybe we should do a little Cagayan reunion in DC, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens.
All right, all right.
Is Quentin gonna be there?
21. Hey. But listen, this has been your Survivor News. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Purple Pants Posse, you're protected.